Hey, thanks for popping in. Just wanted everyone to know that my balls are doing much better. I hope yours are too. The world has pushed me towards Vietnam. My move and prep has taken me way too long, but xin chào, welcome. Huge shout out to all the crazy subscriber folks. I'm not sure about your particular flavor of insanity, but I freaking love it. Thanks for yet another view. And to all those checking me out for the first time, welcome. Grab a mouthful of turnbuckle and let's meet center ring. Words is where we will start today. Just words. A couple of minutes ago, I thought to give anybody the understanding that yes, spoken language is used to describe and not forced upon mopeds. This doesn't angry that they are useless. Our smells are important. But let's get back to that. Neil deGrasse Tyson is one hell of a science educator. I would hazard a guess that he has done more for science literacy than any human in history. He is exactly the kind of person we need to promote ideas in science, bringing the fascination of the topics to young, eager minds. Seeing as he has joyfully walked headlong into a brick wall that is related to a big problem in today's world, though, let's take a look at the problem and see if we can help him out. Words. Words are communicative labels we have attached to concepts. We have a concept of moving one foot in front of the other at a high rate of speed. We use the word run for this concept. Sprint, dart, rush, dash, scurry, scuttle, scamper, bolt, charge, and many others might also come to mind. Words, of course, are descriptive and not prescriptive. This simply means that you get to use them any way you like. We are not forced into any one option. One might say, I run to the store, or I rush to the store, I scamper to the store, I bolt to the store, or a great number of things to describe their subjective experience of moving quickly in the direction of the store. If one instead said something like, I remember to the store, although they are perfectly able to say that, it doesn't convey a lot of meaning, does it? It is very difficult, perhaps impossible, to follow the concepts being expressed when our words don't align with the concept others have for those words. If conveying meaning is important, or rather, if communication is important, then we should try our best to be clear. Bottom line, words are important. They allow us to weave narratives that resemble our subjective experiences, to a degree. But when we're trying to honestly convey concepts, we must carefully choose our words.
The new book, Starry Messenger, urges us to really think critically and objectively about what we're up to and whether we can keep this planet we have here. He writes, we sow hatred of others fueled by what we think is true or what we want to be true without regard to what is true. We've lost all sight of what distinguishes facts from opinions. We lob grenades at one another when we could be sharing beers in pubs. Neil is here. Shout out to drinking together and finding facts. Great to see you.
Absolutely correct, my friend. Well, to be picky, beliefs, not opinions. Words are important when trying to communicate something clearly. Opinions are personal views or judgments about something. They're not necessarily based on facts or knowledge. An example might be preferences. I prefer chocolate to strawberry. My opinion is that chocolate tastes better than strawberry. Opinions are generally accepted in others, except for the pineapple on pizza nutters. You wanted to say beliefs. People have lost sight of how to separate facts from beliefs. People have lost sight of the distinction between what they think is true and what is objectively true. This is absolutely correct.
This book has been gestating within me for decades. What is the deep thinker in the armchair's access to what's happening on the frontier? And if that frontier does not derive from rational thought sitting in a chair, then you can't be all that useful. And I claim that when physics and astrophysics entered the 20th century, oh my gosh, no longer was did anything flow out of anybody's rational thinking. We had quantum physics. Who ordered that? Particles popping in and out of existence. You're not coming up with that from an armchair.
People's judgments, moral judgments evolved, right? But then a moral objectivist might say it was always wrong, right? Racism was always wrong.
Yeah, so you can say that after the fact, but would you have said that if you were born and raised in the American South?
No, I wouldn't. Even though I wouldn't say it, it might have been still true, right? So that's the objective moral. So it's like...
okay, all right. See, now you're getting all philosophical on me. You're saying...
I know.
It's dangling there that no one even sees. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Until someone sees it, and then you go back and say that was true even when no one saw it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how practical that is, but no one ever accused philosophers of being practical.
Yeah, I am practical in theory. But
I can pull quantum physics on you and say, if no one saw it, did it exist? How about that?
How? That's my question, right? So
yeah, and I'm saying this is you. And while you're thinking that, I have teams of scientists inventing and designing satellites and engineers participating, and we're studying how the sun wave and the sun. It's called solar. It's called solar weather, by the way. When you have the solar wind, we call it weather. It's very affectionate of us, I think, to think of what the sun does as weather in the solar system. But so we'll do all the rest of that, and we'll continue to make discoveries about how objects function in the solar system, and you will not.
Yes.
You will be probing language and maybe there's a philosophy of knowledge or information. I don't know, but that's not useful to us.
Yeah. Okay. So it is more about the conceptual, as Massimo Pigliucci said. It is not about the empirical space what the philosophers are working on. This is more about the conceptual space, right?
Conceptual space, by all means.
Yeah.
And that conceptual space has been out of reach of philosophers in the physical sciences, beginning with relativity and quantum physics.
Okay, I can.
And then we probe the atom and the particles inside the atom. You know, we discovered quarks. Would you have said, I think that atoms should have quarks? Go check that out. No, you're not thinking that.
I'm not sure the best way to tell you this, Neil, but your understanding of philosophy is very, very weak. And you want to teach people about truth. You literally didn't know that part of philosophy existed in the video I just played. I wish thee luck. But first, let's start with some of that gibberish. You say that philosophy is not useful when coming to unexpected understandings in the universe. You gave the example of quantum physics. You are correct that philosophy would not have come to an understanding of quantum physics we currently have, but it's also correct that astrophysics would doubtfully have come to the understanding of how to cure animal hides. Astrophysics is not concerned with understanding how to cure animal hides, as philosophy isn't concerned with creating an understanding of quantum physics. Your knowledge of the subject on which you speak is painfully lacking. Dunning-Kruger may have some advice for you. Philosophy is the study of the fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence. Philosophy is the subject which studies what we know and what that even means. It is the study of what is real and what is not, what may be justified as real, and how to make those determinations. Philosophy is the study of existence, what it means to exist and what may follow from that. Because my snowshoe doesn't shave my junk, doesn't mean it's useless. It probably means that I need to re-examine my tool use, though. Or maybe my junk. Philosophy isn't concerned with new understandings in quantum physics. Philosophy is concerned with the methods we have used to come to these new understandings. Are they reliable and rational or not? You further don't seem to understand objective truth, even going so far as to call it impractical. But we'll get there in a bit. You may still be surprised to know that there is a philosophy of information or knowledge or something like that. And it is in fact useful to us. So useful that you're currently talking about a book you wrote on the subject. Apparently. It is called Epistemology. You seem to have a very limited understanding of philosophy, Neil. I worry that your book may be harmful rather than helpful. Not having read it, however, please do go on, sir.
I'd look around and I'd see adults saying things, making decisions, commenting, holding opinions. It was like, what? Where did that come from?
Great! You noticed it too. People all around us hold beliefs. Some of those beliefs seem very poorly thought out. Presumably, then, we too may also hold some beliefs that are false. So far, so good, my man. Preach it, brother.
Who's got the right belief system? I mean, that's old school stuff, right?
Yeah, that is. However, this country, the United States, was quite the fascinating experiment in that regard. It's whatever is your personal truth, it's welcomed, but you can't tell someone else, you can't require someone else have your personal truth.
Personal truth. That is a problem, Neil. I want to point out that Neil does change his language to belief later in this very clip. Again, that words are descriptive, and that a metric butt-ton of dudes use the words personal truth. It is a very common idea, and one that is very old. And this is why we began with words. They are important. Look, sitting around a campfire trying to light blue angels is one thing, but education is another. There is nothing about a personal truth that necessarily has any relationship to reality at all. Or, the point I'm trying to make, there is nothing about a personal truth which has any relationship to truth at all. A personal truth is simply a subjective belief, a thing that a person thinks, feels, or otherwise has come to accept as true. This is the very definition of belief. Different people believing different things to be true has no relation whatsoever on the actual capital T truth, reality. Disagreeing with this would seem to put one at odds with either the appeal to authority or appeal to popularity fallacies. I attempted this a bit in another video, but let's see if we can make this even easier. We all have preferences. For the sake of ease, I will use the word opinions. These opinions are wholly subjective to us and are not worth disagreeing upon. If one prefers the smell of fish with the taste of chicken, despite not knowing what they've been licking, that's their prerogative. It is unimportant to me if you change your opinions. Therefore, there really is very little call to talk about opinions at all. Beliefs are the things we, albeit subjectively, think are true. They are not simply preferences. They are the things we think are reflected in reality. We all have different beliefs, and indeed, we probably all share some too. Examples of beliefs include alien existence, religious affiliation, political affiliation, moon landing veracity, tonight's grocery list, the quickest route to get downtown, and the color of thong we are currently wearing. Some of our beliefs we're extremely confident in. We call these things our knowledge. I, for example, know full well that I'm wearing a pink... And some of our beliefs we are less confident in. We simply call these beliefs. I believe we will find enough evidence to justify belief in alien life in the next 20 years, but I could be wrong. The problem comes with the use of the word true. The problem is that we use this one word for two very different concepts. Remember that words are labels which communicate concepts. We use the word both for our personally strongly held beliefs as well as objective facts about reality. The word truth means that which is in accordance with fact or reality. This is an objective concept. Reality is objective. We simply experience it subjectively. This is quite easy to see. How many windows are in your house? I say there are 200. If you want to remain a proponent of subjective truth, you're stuck already. You cannot say I'm wrong, because subjectively, for me, it is true that you have 200 windows. When it is subjectively true for me that you have 200, and it is subjectively true for you that you do not, the word true has been, well, let's go with, has spent an evening with Bill Cosby, at the very least. What happens when I smash my go-kart into the side of a moving truck? How are the police to proceed with charging my corpse? Should I get charged at all? I didn't run the red light. Before dying, I subjectively knew it was green. You subjectively know it is true that I ran a red light. How is the cop possibly to know what actually happened? But it gets worse. What if the cop is also one of these my truth idiots? He subjectively knows the light was purple. Cameras installed at traffic lights give us the objectivity we are missing. But they also serve to demonstrate that there is indeed an objective truth. When we say things like personal truth and subjective truth, we are equating objective reality with the fanciful whims of any mouth breather that has ever oozed out of a uterus. The word you are looking for is beliefs. Presumably everyone has some false beliefs. You are saying that some people's personal truths are false. Cool. But we're still only saying that people have beliefs.
In the chapter Truth and Beauty, I go into this in great detail, but I had to split the word truth into three parts because there are many people who, especially religions, they really attach themselves to the word truth, and I don't want to take that away from them.
I see. Because some people are really attached to a word, we shouldn't take that from them? So, because I'm extremely attached to the word pamplemousse, which, although means grapefruit in French, I use to mean both yes and no in similar contexts. Not only must I be allowed to continue with my confusing, harmful, useless communication, but everyone may now use pamplemousse to mean both yes and no? I hope you can see how utterly ridiculous this would be. Juror number 6, do you find the defendant guilty? Pamplemousse? Flat earthers, Neil. Do you want them to use the word truth too? How about creationists? In fact, if you're going to jump into an apparently new field to yourself and throw words around without knowledge, care, or education, why don't I show you how utterly asinine you sound? It is a subjective truth that Pluto is in fact a star, the Star of David to be precise. In my reality, the speed of light, which is represented by the animal ampersand, is variable in accordance with Saturn's ring decay. Sorry, but look, I really wanted to use the correct words and teach the correct concepts, but people are really attached to their personal, particular, pathetic pontifications, so this is the best we can hope to do in astronomy right now.
That if you have that belief, you don't then rise to power over laws and legislation and have those laws and legislation force others into that same belief system.
I have heard a great many people make this claim. I myself have made it before, but I don't think it is right. In fact, I think it is more than a little selfish. The idea being that you can believe whatever you like, so long as you don't have power over laws and legislation. First, the selfishness. This seems to imply that you can believe whatever you like so long as it doesn't affect me. Don't make laws that affect me. But take away the laws and legislation bit completely. A person's beliefs affect their own life and the lives of those around them. What about those people? Now, I'm certainly not saying that I want to control thought in any way. But wouldn't it be nice if the crazy dude on the corner stopped shouting about the end of the world? Well, it doesn't bother me. I don't live there. This is selfishness. If we continue to treat beliefs as benign things, those with outlandish beliefs will continue to cause problems in all areas of life. Not just their own lives, but all of our lives, sooner or later. And if we continue with this laissez-faire attitude towards truth, then there is no one to blame but ourselves.
So how does science distinguish? Oh, wait, slip in a political truth. You know what that is?
What's that?
It's what becomes true simply because it got repeated so many times. Our brain has this failure mode. Well, we think it's a success mode where you hear something so many times, your brain says, must be true.
Here you go again. Neil, there's no such thing as political truth. You are talking about indoctrination. When you call the process of indoctrination a political truth, do you think that makes it more or less acceptable? Do you think it is understood by your audience? Look, when I call a fish an elephant, have I effectively communicated my idea of a fish? Hell no! Of course not. Aside from the fact that politicians repeat their own talking points and that indoctrination is an invalid method to arrive at truth, repetition has no bearing on politics nor truth. You've used truth to mean subjective truth again. This is simply a strongly held belief. It could be mirrored in reality or not. The method of indoctrination doesn't reliably lead to truth, Neil. It has long been known to be a bad method of approaching truth. Is this the only bad method of coming to beliefs? Or the only one you're aware of? Or the only one important enough to get the new name of political truth? Inquiring minds want to know what the sweet hell you're talking about, Neil. Look, I'm just trying to keep score here. So far, there are three kinds of truth. There is subjective truths, which are really just strongly held personal beliefs, like Bigfoot enthusiasts. There is political truth, which is really just indoctrination, like cults and kindergartens. And well, what was the other one again, Neil?
The scientific truth is what you establish to be true through experiment, observations, repeated, verified. And when that is done, it is true whether or not you believe in it.
A scientific truth, you say. One that has been established to be true through experiment, observation, repetition, has been verified, after which it is true regardless of my personal belief, you say. Dude, I expect better from you, Neil. In the remarkable words of Jordan Peterson, read more. Let's look a bit more closely at the equivocation error you keep making. I've already said that words are labels for concept. I have already said that the word truth is used in two different ways for two different concepts, one being subjectively and the other being objectively. One concept are the things I claim to know, and the other are the things in reality. But we can never be 100% confident that the things we claim to subjectively know are in fact in alignment with objective reality, if for no other reason than the problem of heart solipsism. But this will not do for one such as Neil. So let's do better for someone who probably has no idea what heart solipsism is. Neil, in 1991, a planet was found to be orbiting a pulsar. In 2011, scientists claimed that neutrinos were faster than light. In 2014, gravitational waves were found from the early universe. There are a great many of these, Neil, and they are simply a matter of mistakes, perhaps human, perhaps equipment, perhaps misunderstandings of the fundamental laws governing the phenomenon. However, you've just said that once science has been done, which in these cases it was, that the claim is true, whether you believe it or not. This is not the case, Neil, and you should know that well. Beyond that, there's also the problem of induction, as well as the fact that science is constantly moving forward and improving as we make better models and create more precise methods of measurement. Your claim about scientific truth is trash, Neil. But although you have separated truth into three parts, subjective garbage, an unreliable method of coming to beliefs, and an ego-boosting thought about science, you missed some. Logical argument, definitional truths, and collective agreements, just to name a few. I certainly won't kick out scientific method, though, sir. It's a great, reliable method, but very simply, it's not infallible. Logical arguments. All of the aliens from Planet X are green. This alien is from Planet X. If you know the color of the alien in question, you are able to get there via logic. You only require an understanding of the words. There are also definitional truths. There are no such things as unmarried bachelors. The definition of a bachelor is one who is unmarried. Therefore, the above sentence must be true. You only require an understanding of the concepts evoked when using the words married and bachelor. Of course, all of this goes to space when we use words which do not evoke the concepts we wish to communicate. The whole point of my video. Collective agreements. It is true that North Americans drive on the right side of the road, simply due to convention.
And if you're going to base laws and
Right.
on something that has to apply to everybody, it seems to me the objective truth should be your primary motive.
Oh, we agree again. I think it's probably time to run away before that changes. There exists an objective truth, which we refer to as reality. If you have problems with that idea, ask yourself if rain falls down or up. Ask yourself what you would say to me if I said it fell up. Some things are in the realm of objective truth. If you can't admit to this, I'm not sure where you are, but it's way worse than that. I'm not sure how we could ever agree to anything. We need a common ground on which to stand if we're to come together in any way, as a society, as a species, as a method of progress, politically, legally, really, in any way. If we don't share this common ground of reality, we are lost. We needn't agree on everything that comprises this common ground. We simply need to agree that this common ground exists. Rain falls down from the sky towards the earth. If we can't start there, where can we start? We all believe a great many things, to differing levels of confidence. Things we have great confidence in, we call our knowledge. But we can never be completely sure if what we individually call our knowledge matches up in any way with reality. It is in all of our best interest for our knowledge to match up with reality. I think the best way to do that is to honestly disagree and talk about it when my beliefs are different from your beliefs. I want to know why you hold your beliefs. I want to know the method you use to come to those beliefs. I want to use it too, if it's a good method. And I want to believe it too, if it's justified. The problem is that, just as Neil is showing us the Dunning-Kruger effect in full force, many others are much less educated than him in this area. Neil deGrasse Tyson is a living legend, an educator who has influenced the lives of millions of people for the better. His understanding of astrophysics and physics in general, and his ability to relay that information, is beyond reproach. Sorry for the junk shot, my friend, but if I'm right about you being the educator I think you are, then you would want your mistakes to be pointed out. As do I. I hope that your foray into teaching about philosophy, which is exactly what is needed, is helpful rather than harmful.